Sure.
Great. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Portillo. Megan, who do we have joining us? Is it mostly reporters?
We've got a mix of reporters and editors.
Okay, cool. Great. My people that I need to talk to. So I actually was at the Lobo a million years ago in 1991 through 93, and I graduated in 94. But while I was at the Lobo, well, actually one summer, I was an intern at the Santa Fe New Mexican. And then I interned at the Albuquerque Journal before I graduated. But I just wanted to talk to you guys today about AP style. I'm not sure how much of it you guys are learning in classes. When I was at UNM, I had a specific class for AP style. And so it's kind of ingrained in me, which I'm learning is a really good thing. So it might seem kind of a pain, as you're writing and editing, but believe me, it will benefit you in the long run. So like I said, I was an intern at the Journal and the New Mexican, and then after I graduated, I was intern at the Denver Post, and then I moved back to Albuquerque, and I was a freelancer at the Albuquerque Tribune, which is no longer around. And if you guys know anything about the Journal and the Tribune, they were in one building and they shared a printing press, and there was a long hall between the two newsrooms. And in the middle of that hall, on one side was the library, where you could access any story that you needed to from those two publications. And then on the other side was the Associated Press Bureau. And I believe they've long moved out of that building, but I actually got a job with the Associated Press. And, I thought it was great because, you think the Associated Press is this major, news organization. And it's kind of like the epitome of being a reporter, and it was cool. But I was working 5:30 to 1:30 in the morning, and I was rewriting other people's stories. I never really got out into the field to report. I did a couple times. I actually reported on a story that Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam was playing downtown someplace, and the story got picked up everywhere, like everywhere. It was amazing to see my byline in, hundreds of newspapers. But at the same time, like I said, I was working 5:30 to 1:30 in the morning, and it was not really what I wanted to do. So I was in Albuquerque. I had worked at both newspapers. I was kind of out of options. So I decided, why not go into public relations? So I did. I joined a PR agency, actually an advertising agency, Rick Johnson and Company, and they're no longer around either. But through that agency, I made some great connections, and they really valued my writing skills. So the skills that you guys are developing now, they are going to help you immensely throughout your careers, whatever you do. So just continue to work on your craft, because it's an ongoing process. I worked at Comcast in the public relations, community relations department, and then we moved to Denver, and I got a job at Dish Network, and I worked at Allstate and Fathom Events. They do the events in movie theaters like the Metropolitan Opera, concerts, the Wizard of Oz anniversaries. And that job was pretty amazing because I got to, meet all these different people, got to go to the Metropolitan Opera, go backstage. It is just really cool. And then I've landed at Stars about 8 years ago. And if you're not familiar with Stars, they're a premium cable and streaming network, and a lot of their original series are like Outlander and Power and Ghost. So I was hired here in Denver. And back in the day, like Denver was like the big cable hub of the country. And so Stars was actually located here. But then once they started getting to original programming, they moved out to California. So a lot of people moved to California, but I was lucky enough to stay here. And I was in corporate communications. So I wasn't on the publicity side, but I worked with the publicity team. So got to do a lot of cool things with that organization as well. So I left there in August, and now I'm at another PR agency called ICR. They're based out of New York, and I work on Planet Fitness, Playboy, and Vivid Seats accounts, among others. And I'm actually going to New York tomorrow for meetings with Planet Fitness, and we're actually having a media event because they sponsored, New Year's Eve, the ball festivities. And we actually have a media event on Tuesday night with media. We invited all the media to come and get up close and personal to the ball. So I get to actually hang out with the huge New Year's Eve ball on Tuesday night. So I'm excited for that. But so that's me. So I just wanted to talk about, where my career has led me from the newsroom. And, we'll get back to the Associated Press now. So, obviously the Associated Press is a global news organization. They've been around for 170 years. And like I said, it's kind of the epitome of news, right? News organizations. I don't know if you know this, but newspapers all over the country and the world subscribe to the AP Wire. I'm not sure how much they pay for it. I'm sure it's tens of thousands of dollars, but that gives them access to stories and photos and videos, so they can use those stories and videos and photos for, to fill space. So that's why, if you get picked up by the AP, it's pretty cool. They have 250 locations worldwide. They're in all 50 states. Like I said, there's an Albuquerque bureau, and then they're all over the world, from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe. So there's bureaus literally everywhere. So AP style writing, I've been looking at the Daily Lobo, and I haven't been scrutinizing it at all. I've just kind of been looking at it, but you guys are doing a really good job with AP style. I really like to read things and edit and, take out my editing cap. So you guys are doing a really good job. But I mean, obviously, you have to stay consistent with the AP style. Most newspapers, magazines, online outlets, and, PR offices, because we work so much with reporters that the information that we provide reporters has to be in AP style, because that's what they work in. That's what they expect, and just to make the reporter's job so much easier, you just write press releases, in AP style. So it's really important that you have a good knowledge of AP style, and all this. Obviously, it's because things need to stay consistent. And if you think about it, AP style was initially developed for print media when you couldn't just change it quickly like you can now. When there was a printing press and they had to actually put all the words together and everything, and it was crazy. So obviously, there's a reason for the consistency, and it's just a good baseline to have. This is what I used back when I was a reporter, the style book. I think you guys actually have some in the newsroom. I was there this summer and I saw a couple floating around, but I really like the book, but with everything changing so quickly, right now they have the AP style book online, And I actually have a subscription to this. Nobody
Hey,
else.
Michelle, I think, sorry to butt in. I'm not sure that we're seeing the same thing you are. We're still looking at the first slide.
Oh, no. Okay. Let me get my IT support back. Sorry. Can you see my screen now? Like
We can see your screen. What we see is the very first slide of
the
the
very first
presentation.
slide still. Darn it.
Are you in present mode, or are you just can you see like the columns to the left of you, or did you go into like the full screen mode on the presentation?
I went into the full screen mode on the presentation, and now I exited.
That may be what it is. You could try resharing your screen maybe when it's just like this without the present mode.
Oh. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Now I can't get it back. What you missed. So this is what you missed. Just logos, more logos, and AP style. Okay, so this is the book that I'm sure you guys have all seen. And then obviously this is the online version. And okay, I think that's where we stop. So AP guidelines. So obviously, use of numbers, which is different than, Oxford style and some other styles, obviously commas, and then titles. You guys should all be very familiar with all of this. State names, which is different in the story than datelines. Datelines, obviously, actually this rule has changed since I was a reporter. So, just consult your AP style guide for datelines if you have any questions. There's only, 20 or 30 cities that don't require a state to be followed by the city. So I looked, and Albuquerque and Santa Fe aren't even on that list. So you always have to have New Mexico after Santa Fe or Albuquerque or wherever, Las Vegas, New Mexico, obviously. Even like Santa Monica, this is Dateline from one of my press releases. So, Santa Monica isn't on that list. So you have to have California behind it. Beverly Hills wasn't. So we had to put California after that too. So just make sure you consult and see, what datelines need the state. But I was going to do a little quiz with you guys because the holidays are coming up. Just out of this AP quiz. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, e-commerce, Christmas, Kris Kringle, like out of those 5, do you see any mistakes AP wise? Anybody? Okay, Christmas is always spelled out Christmas, Christmas, and Kris Kringle, there's 2 S's for Chris. So something that probably wouldn't know, right? I mean, it looks pretty good, but, always check AP. And then of course, Santa Claus, don't refer to him as Claus like you would a normal person. And then of course, Mrs. Claus is acceptable. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, season's greetings. Those are all, something that I didn't even realize until I looked at these guidelines for the AP, because they have a special Christmas section. So another example of why you should always just consult the AP guide. White Christmas, when you're referring to the song, is in quotation marks. Of course, Christmas tree, lowercase tree, and then of course some more of the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day references. So just, remember that things are always changing with the AP. So if you have any questions, you can always just, check or, ask fellow reporters, your editor, copy editors. I do a lot of online searches. Like if I'm not sure, I just Google something and, like the New York Times, and then I put in the search what the term is. And then, it's a quick way to find out how they're using that phrasing or that, the capitalization, whatever. And then of course, you can always call your local AP bureau. They're busy, but they'll answer your questions. So how is AP style going to benefit your career? And, I talked about my career, and, when I got to Stars, I didn't realize, because I hadn't really worked with a lot of publicists until then. And I didn't realize that a lot of people don't know how to write. They really don't. And even though they have jobs as publicists, it's more about their contacts and, who they know and their relationships. And it's not at all about their writing. Writing is kind of secondary in my world in publicity. So I was kind of the style police for Stars. And, I don't know how many times I would tell people, one thing and they would still not do it. And, if I wasn't there, it would just be a mess, because as a company, you have to be consistent, especially in your press materials. You want that consistency, because reporters look at that and, they think you're, a credible resource if, AP style, and if, you don't have any typos or misspellings. And so it's very important to be very detail oriented when you're writing. Just don't rely on the copy editors to always fix your copy, because, sometimes they miss things too. So it's really important to make sure that you do that. And this is, national surveys, and actually my experience too, employers are saying that college graduates they just don't have the writing skills that they need. So, you guys are really ahead of the curve if you, work on your craft and make sure that, you're consistent and, play up that you're a good writer, because a lot of companies are looking for that. And, I was looking for somebody, I was hiring a couple positions at Stars, and, when people ask you for writing samples, it's to make sure that you know what you're doing, and, and that you're a good fit for that position. And this is actually, I pulled this from my job description that they're trying to hire now that I just left. And if you look at the third bullet, it says, exceptional written, verbal, and interpersonal communication skills, including AP style. So, obviously all newspapers, all news organizations are going to want you to have that knowledge of AP style, but companies are too, especially if you're in the communications department. And then, of course, the bottom bullet, the ability to juggle multiple projects simultaneously while maintaining attention to detail. And as a reporter, because you're working on deadlines so much, that's going to help you a lot, because sometimes, in my just every day, something comes down. It's like, we need a press release written right now. And because you have that deadline experience, it's going to help you pivot and, and do your job. So sorry about the snafu with the PowerPoint, but I'm glad you guys got to see most of it. Thanks for letting me know. But here's my contact information. If anybody ever wants to reach out, happy to talk about, career paths, job opportunities, if you want to explore opportunities outside of journalism, PR. I never thought I would go into PR when I was a reporter, but circumstances just led me down that path. So, and I'm glad that I've taken it.
Well, thank you so much for that. I think, anybody have any questions or anything like that?
Thanks.
I know Liam probably felt pretty happy. Liam's our copy editor when you said that we're doing pretty good on the AP. Awesome.
Good.
Well, thank you so much for presenting to us. That was really helpful.
Yeah, good. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of an AP nerd. You're not going to find a lot of us, but when you do, I think you definitely need to play that up wherever you are, whatever career path you take, because it has definitely come in handy. Like, I swear, with the whole pandemic and, companies laying people off, I really felt like I had job security just because nobody could write. And because I was, that consistent editor, to make sure that everything stayed consistent. So, writing is definitely a skill that people are looking for. So keep doing it. I love writing. Rebecca, you have a question?
Yeah. Excuse me. I do have a question. So I graduate in a few weeks and I'm in the job market. Do you have any interview advice for writing positions?
Any interview advice? I would say, if you could share some writing samples, even if it's, with your follow-up email, thank you. Links to writing samples would be great. Congratulations on graduating. But for those of you not graduating, the best advice that I got when I was in college, somebody told me, take as many internships as you can during college, even if it means that you graduate a year or two later. That internship experience is going to be so valuable after you get out, because you're going to have this experience and you're going to be, fighting for jobs, with people who haven't. So internships are amazing. Even after I graduated and I wanted to get into PR, I actually took a few classes so that I could get credit for an internship with the PR agency. So, because they weren't giving non-credit internships. But yeah, I would say, share links to writing samples, even in your cover letters or even in your resumes, maybe even build a website with samples. And then play up, your knowledge of AP style.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, well, I have to go pack. So I will look forward to hearing from any of you. Probably not next week. I'm gonna be a little busy, but yeah, just let me know if I can help with anything else, if there's any other topics that I could talk to. I'm very happy to do that.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Sure, thanks. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.